Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the greatest breakthroughs in your life will not come while you are surrounded by noise, distractions, and constant attention, but in the moments when you disappear? What if the key to your next level of success is not to be seen everywhere, but to be unseen for a season? Silence breeds growth, because in the quiet moments of life, away from the noise of the world, a person is finally able to hear themselves and connect with the deepest parts of their purpose. Noise has a way of drowning out vision. The endless distractions of social media, the constant voices of people's opinions, and the pressure to always be visible create an atmosphere where growth is stunted. True development requires space, and space is created when silence is embraced. Just as a seed grows beneath the soil where no one can see it, human potential develops in hidden seasons where there is no applause, no attention, and no demand to perform. Silence becomes the soil where clarity, focus, and maturity take root. In silence, you find time to think, reflect, and realign with what truly matters. Growth is not accidental, it is intentional. But intentional growth cannot happen without removing yourself from distractions. When you withdraw into silence, you give your mind the power to process ideas deeply, to analyze your experiences, and to draw lessons that cannot be learned in the rush of noise. Silence forces you to confront your weaknesses, identify your strengths, and discover the habits that need to change. It is in these quiet moments that discipline is formed, because growth does not come through mere activity, but through thoughtful reflection and consistent correction. The world often equates visibility with success, but visibility without depth is a trap. Many people rise quickly, but because they never took time in silence to develop strong roots, they collapse when pressure comes. Silence is the training ground for resilience. Just as athletes must train in solitude before performing in the arena, individuals must cultivate their character, mindset, and vision in silence before stepping into the world. The noise of applause cannot strengthen you. It only celebrates what you have already built. It is the silence of preparation that builds endurance, wisdom, and inner strength. In silence, the mind sharpens. Creativity is unlocked when you step away from constant noise. Some of the greatest inventions, the most powerful strategies, and the clearest visions were born in quiet environments, where the thinker was left alone with their thoughts. Growth requires imagination, and imagination flourishes when distractions fade. Silence is not emptiness. It is fullness waiting to be discovered. It is the space where the spirit is renewed, where the heart is healed, and where direction for the future becomes clear. Many resist silence because it feels uncomfortable. Being alone with yourself can expose fears, doubts, and insecurities. Yet those are the very things that must be addressed for growth to take place. Silence gives you the courage to face what you have been avoiding. And in that confrontation, true transformation begins. Growth is not only about gaining skills, it is about building character. And character is forged in the fire of quiet reflection and honest self-examination. When you choose silence, you choose strength. You learn to detach from the temporary noise of others so you can attach to the eternal truth of your purpose. Silence teaches patience, and patience matures vision. Silence slows you down long enough to accelerate your future. The tree that grows tall and strong spends years developing roots underground where no one can see them. In the same way, your greatest growth will happen in the hidden moments of silence, preparing you for the visible seasons of greatness. Disappear to reappear stronger is a principle that reminds us that sometimes the best way to advance in life is not by being constantly visible, but by retreating for a season to build, sharpen, and prepare. The world often glorifies constant exposure, making it seem as though being seen everywhere is the same as being successful. Yet real power is not built under the spotlight. It is built in hidden seasons, where focus and discipline shape you into someone far greater than you were before. When you disappear intentionally, you are not running away. You are stepping aside to construct the kind of foundation that will hold the weight of your destiny. The absence becomes an investment, and when you return, you carry results that cannot be ignored. Disappearing is not about hiding in fear. It is about retreating with purpose. It is about shutting out the voices that drain your energy and replacing them with habits, disciplines, and strategies that elevate your future. When you step back from constant activity and endless distractions, you give yourself the chance to regroup. You create the opportunity to evaluate where you are, where you want to go, and what must change in order to get there. That period of disappearance becomes a workshop for transformation, where the raw material of your life is shaped into something stronger, sharper, and more effective. Reappearing stronger is the reward of this hidden work. When you resurface after a season of quiet preparation, people will not recognize you because you will no longer be the same person who left. You will carry greater confidence, clearer vision, sharper skills, and stronger discipline. The energy you once scattered across distractions will now be concentrated on purpose, and that concentration produces undeniable results. People are often shocked by sudden growth, but growth is never sudden. It is the outcome of time spent away from the crowd, polishing the unseen parts of yourself until they are ready to shine in the light. Disappearing also protects you from premature exposure. Many people fail not because they lack talent, but because they stepped into visibility before they were ready. They sought recognition without preparation, and when the pressure came, they collapsed under the weight of expectation. Disappearing shields you from that trap, giving you space to grow quietly until your capacity matches your calling. It is not delay, it is strategy. The longer you prepare in private, the longer you can sustain in public. During disappearance, strength is developed not only in skill, but also in character. Skills may open doors, but character keeps them open. The time away allows you to refine your values, align with your vision, and confront your weaknesses without an audience watching. By the time you reappear, you will not just have knowledge, you will have wisdom. You will not just have activity, you will have effectiveness. The world respects strength that cannot be shaken, and that strength is forged in hidden places. To disappear for a season is to trust the process of growth. It is to believe that the world can wait while you build yourself into someone worth waiting for. When you reappear, you are not coming back with explanations, you are coming back with evidence. Evidence of progress, evidence of discipline, evidence of transformation. That evidence will speak louder than words, louder than promises, louder than excuses. To disappear is not to retreat permanently, it is to recharge, realign, and reemerge with a force that commands attention. And when you reappear stronger, you will not only surprise the world, you will redefine it. Value before visibility is a principle that emphasizes the importance of becoming truly valuable before seeking recognition or attention. In a world driven by likes, followers, and instant applause, Many people chase visibility without first building the depth, skill, and character that make them worthy of lasting influence. Visibility without value is empty, and though it may create a moment of fame, it cannot sustain respect, trust, or success. Real growth happens when you invest your time and energy in developing what you can offer, not in chasing who will notice you. Once you have value, visibility will follow naturally, because the world cannot ignore excellence. The danger of seeking visibility before value is that it places the spotlight on something unfinished. When someone promotes themselves before they are ready, the exposure highlights both their strengths and their weaknesses. Instead of being known for greatness, they become remembered for immaturity or lack of preparation. This is why so many people rise quickly, but fall just as fast. They did not take the time to build a solid foundation in private before stepping into public recognition. Value is what ensures that when you are finally seen, you can stand firm and deliver consistently, regardless of pressure. Value is built in the unseen seasons of preparation, study, and discipline. It is built when no one is watching, when the applause is absent, and when the temptation to quit whispers in your ear. The person who focuses on developing value is patient with the process, knowing that every moment of learning, every hour of practice, and every test of character is shaping them into someone the world will respect. True value is never rushed. It is refined over time, just like gold must go through fire before it shines. When you embrace the work of preparation, you position yourself to eventually step into visibility with confidence and strength that cannot be shaken. The world is full of people who are visible, but not valuable, loud, but not impactful, present, but not significant. These individuals may attract attention, but they fail to leave a legacy. Value, on the other hand, ensures that your presence has weight. When you walk into a room with value, people listen. When you speak with value, people remember. When you act with value, people follow. Visibility without value may give you a stage, but value ensures that your voice matters on that stage. Focusing on value first also protects you from the dangers of external validation. When your worth is tied to visibility, you become dependent on others for approval. You begin to chase trends, compromise your principles, and adjust your identity to gain attention. But when your focus is on value, you become grounded. You know who you are, what you carry, and what you can contribute. You no longer beg for visibility because you understand that value is magnetic. People are naturally drawn to excellence, integrity, and wisdom. You do not have to shout to be seen. Your results will announce you. Value before visibility is a principle that teaches patience, humility, and trust in the process. It assures you that obscurity is not punishment, but preparation. It reminds you that your worth is not measured by how many see you today, but by how much impact you can create tomorrow. When you build value first, visibility will not expose your weakness, but will amplify your strength. And when the time comes for you to step into the spotlight, you will not only be seen, you will be respected, honored, and remembered. Champions are made in secret because the path to greatness is not built in the public eye, but in the quiet, unseen hours of discipline, sacrifice, and preparation. The world celebrates the victory, but it rarely sees the training that made it possible. The applause is loud on the day of success, but the silence is even louder on the days of struggle when no one is watching. A champion is not defined by the trophy they hold, but by the character, endurance, and resilience they cultivated when no cameras were present and no one cared to notice. Every great achievement is rooted in moments of obscurity where the individual chose to keep working, keep learning, and keep pushing when quitting would have been easier. The secret place is where consistency is born. Anyone can perform when the lights are on, but only those who persist in secret when there is no recognition truly rise to the top. The athlete who trains before sunrise, the student who studies late into the night, the entrepreneur who works tirelessly behind closed doors, all understand that success is the result of countless hidden hours that accumulate into undeniable mastery. Champions are those who embrace the grind, not for applause, but for growth. They know that the battle is won long before the contest begins, because the discipline of the secret place guarantees victory in the open arena. Secrecy also provides a shield for growth. In public, every mistake is magnified, but in private, mistakes become teachers. Champions are not afraid to fail in secret because they understand that failure in preparation builds wisdom, while failure in performance destroys confidence. The hidden seasons allow space for experimentation, learning, and correction without the weight of judgment. By the time a champion steps into the light, they have already stumbled countless times in private, and those stumbles have transformed into stepping stones that now carry them forward with confidence. The strength people admire in public is the direct result of the struggles they never saw in private. Champions are made in secret because secrecy demands integrity. It is easy to perform well when others are watching. But the true measure of greatness is what you do when no one else can see you. Champions choose discipline over comfort, even when they could easily take shortcuts. They hold themselves accountable to standards higher than anyone else demands of them. That private commitment becomes their edge, because when the moment of visibility comes, they are not scrambling to prepare. They are simply revealing what they have been consistently building all along. The unseen work of champions also develops mental toughness. In silence, there is no crowd to motivate you, no cheers to push you, no spotlight to validate you. The only drive you have is the one you build within yourself. This inner motivation is what separates champions from the rest. While others rely on external pressure, champions cultivate internal fire. That fire is what sustains them through fatigue, rejection, and setbacks. It is what allows them to keep rising even after failures. Without the hidden seasons of struggle, the mental strength required for victory could never be developed. When the world finally sees a champion, they often call it overnight success, but nothing could be further from the truth. The public moment of glory is simply the unveiling of years of private dedication. Champions are sculpted in silence, forged in loneliness, and refined in the hidden hours no one else is willing to give. By the time they stand in the light, their victory is already secured, because champions are not made on the stage. They are made in secret. Discipline creates distinction because it is the one quality that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Talent may open the door, opportunity may knock once in a while, but without discipline, both are wasted. Discipline is the bridge between potential and fulfillment, the force that transforms intentions into actions and actions into results. It is not the person with the loudest ambition who rises to the top, but the one who has mastered the ability to consistently do what is necessary, even when it is difficult, boring, or uncomfortable. Discipline is the great divider. It is what allows ordinary people to live extraordinary lives. Distinction comes when you refuse to settle for mediocrity. Many people have gifts, but few have discipline, and that is why so many remain average despite having talent. Discipline gives you the ability to control your habits instead of letting your habits control you. It demands that you focus on what builds you rather than what entertains you. It pushes you to wake up earlier, stay longer, practice harder, and study deeper, while others are distracted by temporary pleasures. Over time, the gap between the disciplined and the undisciplined becomes so wide that the difference is impossible to ignore. That gap is where distinction is born. Discipline also creates consistency, and consistency is what produces credibility. When people know they can depend on you, they respect you. When they see you keep your word, follow through, and show up with excellence time after time, they distinguish you from the rest. Anyone can do something great once, but discipline allows you to do it repeatedly until it becomes your identity. The musician who practices daily, the athlete who trains relentlessly, the leader who studies tirelessly, all are elevated not simply because of raw talent, but because their discipline transforms skill into mastery. That mastery makes them stand out in a world full of people who only wish, but never commit. The reason discipline creates distinction is because so few are willing to embrace it. Most people choose comfort over challenge, distraction over focus, and instant gratification over long-term reward. Discipline is rare, and whatever is rare is valuable. The disciplined person becomes like a diamond in a field of stones, easily noticed and highly treasured. Employers, leaders, and communities are drawn to those who are disciplined because they bring reliability, order, and results. Discipline does not just change how others see you, it changes how you see yourself. It builds self-respect, confidence, and a sense of authority over your own life. That inner transformation radiates outward and sets you apart. Discipline also shapes character. It teaches patience when progress is slow, endurance when challenges are heavy, and resilience when setbacks occur. Without discipline, failure becomes defeat, but with discipline, failure becomes feedback that fuels the next attempt. Distinction is not created by avoiding difficulty, but by mastering it, and only discipline gives you the strength to keep moving when everything in you wants to stop. The person who embraces discipline is not controlled by emotions or circumstances. They are guided by principles and purpose. That stability distinguishes them as someone who can be trusted and followed. Over time, discipline compounds into excellence. The small daily actions that others ignore accumulate into a lifestyle that commands respect. Just as rivers carve valleys through steady persistence, discipline carves greatness into a life. What begins as routine becomes reputation, and what begins as effort becomes identity. When the world looks for leaders, pioneers, or innovators, it is not the talented who rise first, but the disciplined, because discipline always creates distinction. Temporary absence leads to lasting impact, because sometimes stepping away from the noise, the spotlight, and the constant demands of life creates the very space needed for transformation. Many people fear being forgotten if they withdraw for a season, but the truth is that absence, when used wisely, can magnify presence. When you choose to disappear temporarily, you give yourself the chance to renew, rebuild, and refocus, so that when you return, your presence carries more weight than before. Impact is not made by being seen everywhere at all times. It is made by reappearing with something valuable, powerful, and undeniable that the world cannot ignore. Temporary absence allows for preparation. When you step back, you create time to sharpen your skills, strengthen your character, and expand your vision. This quiet season of work ensures that when you return, you bring more than just words. You bring evidence. People are impressed by results, and results are born in hidden seasons where effort outweighs exposure. Absence becomes the womb of impact, the place where unseen growth develops until it is ready to be revealed. Just as seeds must remain buried before they bloom, individuals must embrace moments of obscurity before their greatness is fully recognized. Absence also protects you from burnout. Constant visibility drains energy and creativity. When you are always present, you leave no room for renewal. Temporary withdrawal replenishes your strength and gives you fresh perspective. It allows you to return with passion instead of exhaustion, clarity instead of confusion, and direction instead of distraction. People notice the difference between someone who is drained and someone who is refreshed. That contrast is what makes your reappearance so impactful. Your energy, your focus, and your renewed determination set you apart because they remind others of the power of rest and preparation. Another reason absence creates lasting impact is because it builds anticipation. When something or someone is always accessible, people begin to take it for granted. Constant exposure can dull appreciation. But when you step back, even for a short time, you create space for people to notice your absence and realize your value. When you reappear, you carry a renewed sense of importance because people are reminded of what they were missing. This principle is true in leadership, creativity, and influencing. Scarcity often increases value. By temporarily stepping away, you ensure that your presence, when restored, is felt more deeply and remembered more strongly. Temporary absence also gives you the chance to redefine yourself. If you are always visible, people may lock you into who you were yesterday. They only see the version of you that is constantly performing, and there is little room for reinvention. But when you disappear with intention, you create the freedom to grow without interruption. You can build new skills, adopt new habits, and develop new perspectives. When you return, people encounter a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. This sudden transformation leaves a lasting impact because it shows undeniable evidence of growth and change. The lasting impact of temporary absence is not just in what you gain personally, but in how others experience you when you return. Your reappearance becomes a statement that silence was not wasted, that retreat was not weakness, and that absence was not failure. Instead, it becomes proof that preparation, renewal, and growth are powerful tools for influence. The world is full of voices demanding constant attention, but it remembers the ones who return with something meaningful to give. When you step back with purpose and step forward with progress, your absence creates the very platform for your lasting impact.